with no further ado, I always have to say thanks to both Ed and Penny for just all that they have done. I mean, they brought to you some great information that I know personally. I work full-time at State Farm and also for State Farm Bank. And so I know some of the conferences or sponsorships and things that we get, the information that you got today, even when they said it was valued at $99, I know personally you probably would pay at least $500 to go. And so he just does it out of the goodness of his heart. And he says like-minded, like-heart people, Penny as well. And so just fell in love with the both of them. And I don't say that easily. Actually, I don't give fluff words at all. It's part of being a life coach. You just let people know with love, gently, about where you are. But I did. They have the greatest heart. And so if we could give them a hand for pulling this together, thank you. Thank you. Ed is right. I had an opportunity to be a part of a book, a story that everybody gets an opportunity to see themselves in and a piece of them. And my story is called One Bite at a Time. I still remember when I went to my mailbox and I took out this letter and I knew where it was from. I had been expecting it. And I went and I put it on my table and I looked at it for a while. And I don't know if anybody's like me, that you look at something hoping it'll say something else, wishing it'll say something else, but you know what it really is in your gut. But for some reason, as adults, I know I'm not the only one, you just look at it, oh, please, 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 be something else. And I finally got up the courage to open it up, and it said just what I thought it did. You failed. You failed. And I sat back in this chair, and I can still see it, and I cried so hard that I couldn't catch my breath. I had a hard time breathing. And in my head, and I think a lot of us go through that, the woulda, the coulda, the shoulda. How could I have done things differently? I did this to myself. But most of all, what was I going to tell my mother? A single mom that worked so hard to get me to this point. What was I going to tell the people back home? I was a proud peacock when I left. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. I'm going to da-da-da-da. Now what? You know how you brag about something and you say what you're going to do, and then it kind of falls apart? You feel afraid, scared to show your face. What am I going to do? I felt like my dreams were completely shattered. But I stand here today to say that's not the end of the story. Now, although I work full-time at State Farm, I'm also a High Achievers Life Coach. I'm the owner of a business called Simply in Your Purpose, where I help high achievers to simplify their lives and define their priorities. Because I would tend to say I'm a little high achiever. Did I also tell you that I'm the radio host of Minding My Business, which is on WXRJ in Bloomington, but you can also get it live at WXRJ.org. Did I also tell you, he told you about being an author and a mom and the aunt of a teenager that's 18 years old living with me. Oh, I needed therapy, but you all can talk to me about that part later. A wife. Oh, and I'm on an international board of directors and a couple of other boards, and I'm very active in the church. I think I'm a little bit of a high achiever, right? Anybody think I'm not? So, okay, we're on the same page, right? But they all fall and align with one another. I've made it a balance. I've had to cut some things out. Some things are only for a season, that you have to cut those things out. And I've done those things that energize me. Not drain me, but energize me. Sometimes I'm a little bit tired from going, but I'm energized. I worked a full day, and thank you, Stan, for driving. We worked a full day today. And I was a little bit tired, but I'm energized because I get to share some great things. My goal is to make sure that you have some pieces so that your dreams don't go by the wayside, so that you continuously reach for those things and that you share those stories as well. So, I'm energized, and we're going to work. Did he tell you on the flyer that I do workshops? Yes, you don't just get to enjoy. We're going to work together. It's going to be great. You're going to love it, really, I hope. So, and I'm doing it a little bit different than what Ed told me to do before, but a lot of times people's dreams are shattered or dreams are unfulfilled. And sometimes it's because of that self-chatter in the back of our heads. Has anybody ever had that? I have it on a weekly basis, that something new comes up, something that challenges you. And then I get that, really? Are you going to do that? Seriously? You know people haven't done that. Now you know this is not a good thing. Do you have the time? Can you take on another thing? All in my own head. All in my own head. But I always have to take that time to write those things down and say, if this truly aligns with where I'm going with my life dreams, and it's something that energizes me, and I may be afraid, I need to step out on that. I need to have a little bit of courage. It took me courage to write that story. My mother didn't know about that until I wrote it. And I sent it to her only because I'm a little afraid of my mother still. She's 4 foot, I don't know. But it was, is this okay with this and what I'm about to share? And she said, I didn't know about your struggles. I didn't know, but I'm so proud that you pushed through. I have a whole new level of proud. And that happened to be one of my life goals. I helped my grandmother to achieve her life goals. Because when the book was actually published, I got the book on December 21st. And so, of course, as soon as I got them, I turned around and I put a little wrapping paper on it and I threw it into the mail to my grandmother and my mother and a couple of other people. And my grandmother called me and she said to me, it was actually on December 26th, and she says to me, when I was a child, as a woman, as a black woman, we were encouraged not to read. You don't need education. Just tend to the house. Get a good husband. That's what you need. So they were actually pushed away from getting education. And she said as a teenager, when she was able to, she grasped onto everything that she could read, took everything in. And today, she reads. She makes it a point to read every day. She reads the paper from beginning to end, plus her magazines, plus certain books. She'll do a book on development, a book on her spirit, and a book just for Grammy fun. But she takes that time to read. And she said, I read this book in 3 days. And she said, I never thought I would see the day that somebody in my family, my grandchild, actually fulfilled a dream for me and is providing literacy, encouraging others to read when that was almost stripped away. I'm so proud of you and thank you. That, outside of some of the dreams I had, is just top-notch with me. Top-notch with me. Thomas Edison, I'm sure he had dreams in the beginning. Got to believe it had to be a dream. There was no other light bulbs. I'm just thinking. What if he would have stopped after 9,000? We would be sitting here by candlelight, looking at Ed talking about, we got to go. But he didn't. He kept pursuing that dream. And I'm sure it was lifelong dreams that he had. So I'm pulling back just a little bit to ask people in here. Raise your hand if you made a New Year's resolution for yourself. It's okay. I did. Okay, put your hands down. Let's change it. Raise your hand if you made a goal for yourself this year. All right. Getting good. Raise your hand if you have a lifelong dream. Kind of thinking about it, kind of. So I'll switch it up a little bit. I know I keep switching on you. Blame it on my ADD. So at least I'm letting you know when I'm switching lanes. If I switch and I don't tell you, say, hey, hey, put on a blinker, lady. And I don't mind that, okay? But with a lifelong dream, what is it that you want people to know you? What is it that you want to be in a dash of your life? If you couldn't speak for yourself, what do you want people to say? What do you want your character to say for you? You know, I was born this day. I passed on my legacy this day. What's in between? What is that lifelong goal, that dream? Remember workshop? I just want you to write down one. Go ahead and take time. You can write it on the back of that evaluation that you have there, or either your other piece of paper. I did say workshop, right? Write it down. It could be whatever it is that you want for yourself. Write it down. While you write, Felicia has lifelong dreams. I want it to be said, Dr. Shaw was a world traveler. She traveled to 3 different countries every year. She also took her foundation to a whole nother level and transformed domestic survivors. She was able to transform the lives of 300, one per day, except for 5 days out the year for the 5 birthdays of people in my family that I'm going to celebrate with them. But one, that's my dream. Now, we often have what they call the bucket list or a lifelong dream, but how often do we take steps to make sure that we're getting there? So, I won't ask you to raise your hand if you're not taking the steps, because that's what you're here for. We're going to take steps to get there. That's right. You get that opportunity too. So, it's good to have year goals, and we're going to work on that. But we're also going to work on a goal to make sure that you're moving towards that lifelong dream, that lifelong goal, and talk about ways that you share that so that your story is told without you having to word it, so that you are moving towards the dash in your life. Is that okay? Good, okay. So, step 1 in this is that I want us to feel good about ourselves and that you are worth moving towards your dreams and your goals. Then we're going to create a plan to move forward and plan, plant, produce, and prosper, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So, what is it that you say to yourself every day to encourage yourself? Go ahead, throw it out. Highly spirited. Yes, awesome. Did I see your hand up? Go ahead and say that one loud.
Highly spirited and favored.
Highly spirited and favored. What's another one? What was yours?
Alive.
I'm alive. You have to tell it again. I can't have that by myself. Blessed by the best. Nice. We have to take that time. So I saw a little looks across the faces, so I'm going to make you more uncomfortable. That's my job, to make you more uncomfortable so that you step out past fear. Courage is going beyond your fear, not letting it take a hold of you. So I want you all to go ahead and hug yourself. Yeah, go ahead. It's all right. Hug yourself. Pat yourself on the back and say, I made it here. It's good. Yeah, they're looking like, oh, this is not good. But think about this. If you're not willing to love yourself, why should others? You are the best example of how people should treat you, how people embrace you, how people love you. If you can't do it, why be surprised that no one else will? You take that first step because you are worth it. So I'm going to have you all stand up. Oh, what is she doing now? Hug yourself and say, I love me. And then we're going, that was good. Oh, that was so good. It was juicy. I want to hear it again.
This is what she feels.
That's right. Love yourself. It's okay to love yourself. It's not selfish. You're supposed to love you. So let's do it again. I love me. That's right. And then I want you to look at your neighbor and tell them and say, you are so worth it. Right. You're worth this, right? So I want you to say it like you mean it this time, because we have to constantly encourage others, and when you encourage others, you encourage your own spirit. So let's try it again and say, I love me. And say, you are so worth it. Right. Encourage them. Okay, you did good. Give yourselves a hand and sit on down. You all can sit on down. Because you have to know you are wonderfully made. You are so worth it. You are worth being loved. You are worth being able to move towards your goals. You can help others. You can encourage others, but please don't forget yourself, because you are so worth it. Let's hear it again. You are so worth it. Now let me hear you say, and I am so worth it.
I am so worth it.
Oh, you got to give me the so. I am so worth it. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, now we're talking. Now we can move into this plan. So, unleashing your champion. What does that mean? That means moving towards your goals, moving towards your dreams. Because did you know there are a lot of people mad out there because they took on other people's goals and said yes when they didn't want to? And they're mad at them. But that's because you didn't take time to make your own. Or maybe you made goals for yourself, but you didn't take the plans, you didn't take the steps to move towards it. So if you do that, if you don't do that, you're going to be upset. And you take on other people's dreams and watch them blossom while you sitting there, ooh, can't believe they asked me to help. Ooh, I'm mad and I don't know who I'm mad at. Ooh, don't do that anymore. So we're going to start moving towards that. Is that okay with you all? Okay. So I want you to go ahead and create a written plan for yourself. What I'd like for you to do really quickly, write down 3 goals that you'd like to achieve this year within 6 months. However, one of your goals has to be towards your life goal. Remember earlier I said write a life goal? One of them has to be towards that life goal. You got to start moving towards it. But you also want to do things in the immediate. So write down 3 goals for yourself, with one of them moving towards that life goal. And I'll give you a couple of minutes just to do that. Now, after you've written those down, I want you to prioritize them. One being the number one that you want to work on, and 3 being, I will get to this. So now with your goals, when you set a goal, you have to make it rational. You're also going to make a plan to get there. And then you're going to put action above motivation. It's great to be motivated, but if you don't take action steps towards it, it's just a dream. I don't want your dreams to dissolve. So we're going to have to put some action steps behind that. And yes, you get that chance to do that. And then you say no excuses. Life happens. Life happens. You just have to modify it a little bit. And we're going to talk about that. A first part of doing your goals is making it real, making it concrete. So you have to write it down. Do I have 5 volunteers? I only bite on Tuesdays. All right. And for those of you who didn't volunteer, you just volunteered to do this tomorrow. And I thank you so much for your volunteerism. But what I'd like for you, the 5 of you, to do is to write down that number 1 goal right inside that box on that sticky note. And if you feel compelled, go ahead and give an extra sticky note page to a friend. If they're looking at you, feel free to give it to them. You can rip one off and give it to them. And what I'd like for you all to do is to put it on your bathroom mirror and then take a second one and put it on the refrigerator. Who knows why? Right, those are the 2 places you're going every day. The bathroom mirror, notice I said mirror, and the refrigerator. The other thing about the refrigerator is that you need a support group. And trust me, if you have children, they'll see it and they'll hold you to it. So how are you doing? How are you doing? Oh, they love to do that. Get a neighbor's kid if you don't have a kid in your house. You can borrow mine. Borrow, I won't give that precious jewel away even though he did something naughty to mommy's computer. But that'll also be family or friends when people come over. What is that? And then you get to tell them. And then you have an accountability partner. So, tonight, those of you who volunteered, you get to do that tonight. For those of you who didn't, you get to do it within 24 hours. Are we agreed on that? Raise your hand if you're not. You getting all this, Heather? They all agreed. Great. So, you didn't know. It's like, what kind of trickery did I get into? So, you wrote down your goals. The next thing that you want to do is make a plan towards that goal. So that number 1 goal that everybody wrote on their piece of paper, remember we prioritized it, I want you to write down 3 things that you're going to do to get to that goal. So I'll give you an example from last year for me. My goal was to lose 8 inches in my waistline. I was very, very specific, and I said within 6 months. Excuse me, I said within 8 months. I just achieved it a little bit early. And I made a plan. I said, I will drink. That was a lot of water. I drank a gallon of water a day. That was just for me. I said, I will no longer eat after 7 p.m. I will do cardio of 30 minutes 3 times a week. I made a plan. I was very specific about it. So your goal, if you have to modify it, be very specific about what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and then be very specific about your plan. What are you going to do to get there? If it's too ambiguous, it might not happen and life might get in the way, and then you'll wind up with excuses. So we're not going to have that, right? Good, okay. Then the next thing that you want to do is create your checkpoints. What are you talking about, Felicia? I'm glad you thought about that. That is, what will be your checkpoints to know that you're on target? measurements, results. You want to know where you are. So when I originally did my plan, I said in 30 days, I should have lost 1 inch. In 60 days, I should have lost 3 inches. I took my time. I didn't have to rush. I made the plan work for me. I had to make it realistic. And so on and so forth. So, you need to put your checkpoints in place, where you should be. And then at the end, which we said the end of the year, so in 6 months, this is where I should be. This is what success looks like for me. Okay. Now, the next thing, what are you willing to sacrifice? Oh, boy. What are you willing to sacrifice? I had to sacrifice my caramel cake. I'm still breathing through those moments. But you have to sacrifice some things. There were some things that I said I want my business more than I love playing Sims or Farmville. I will admit, I'm a game junkie. I'm so competitive and I love it, and it releases off some steam for me sometimes. And now that Randy told me about the viruses that might be on it and collection of data, that might deter me away from it for good. But I had to say, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore because that's a distraction for me. It's pulling me away from what my true goal and dream is. It's not saying that I can't have it, but maybe I should make it a reward system. Okay? And then I already talked about making a plan. What I meant to say, oh, wait, I need 2 more volunteers. I'm like, no way, lady. 2 new volunteers, all right. Spicers. I'll tell you about that in a second. The one part about this is that I just said, well, maybe I should make this a reward for myself, right? So celebrate along the way. You don't have to wait till you're at the very end to enjoy your moment. Celebrate along the way. So let me give you an example. What I did, remember in my plan, I was going to drink the water, the cardio. I did a whole bunch of things. If I did those things every week, I got a paper clip. If I didn't, I took 2 away. But when I got 30 paper clips, I went shopping. I like shopping more than I like playing games on the computer. So that was my reward system. So do things to reward yourself along the way. And what my wonderful volunteers just agreed to do was to journal your journey. Journal your journey. Write down the date, a feeling, 1 word. I'll let it stretch. You can do 2 words if you want. 1 or 2 words only. And then what it was that you did. Sometimes it may say, I was frustrated. I was mad. I was mad because they served dinner at 9 o'clock. And I said I wasn't going to eat till, beyond 7. I was mad. It could be that. It could be happy or elated in what it was. Because what's great about that when you journal your journey is that you get to go back a month later, 2 months later, and say, oh, I've come this far. You know what? I've been there, done that. I don't have to be there anymore. I know I'm going to rise above this. It encourages you. And it makes it a way to share it with someone else to encourage them as well. Another reason of why we did the book. So before I tell you this, there's several things I asked for you to do. I knew you didn't have enough time to do them here. The first thing was to write down your life goal. A life goal for yourself. What is it that you want to achieve? Do something for you. And then the second thing was to write down what?
3 goals.
Right, 3 goals. Then you prioritize them, right? And then everyone within the next 24 hours will get 2 pieces of sticky note paper. And you're going to put one where? Bathroom mirror, and other? Right, on that refrigerator. Okay. And then for that number one goal that's on that refrigerator and mirror, you're going to write before that one, a plan to get there. Write a plan to get there. And how many items are you going to do to get there? At least 3. Notice what I said, at least 3. It can be more than 3, but don't take on too much. And then we have our checkpoint to make sure where we are. And then what are we going to do along the way? That's right, I'm celebrating. Celebrate, and then you journal. Journal your journey. That way, you will unleash your champion. It won't stay inside. You won't be mad because you're helping everybody else to get there, but you're doing it for yourself. And you can help others to get there because they will see that in you. That will spill out and overflow because you're happy about things that you're doing for you to achieve those things, and you can help others to be there too. So your champion, make sure that you do things that complete you and don't deplete you. Once you start on your plan, you will learn how to say no to things that aren't aligned. Not always, but sometimes. Happiness is a choice. It truly is. You can choose to be happy or sad. Life will happen, but take it as a learning experience and say, "Ooh, what did I learn today? How am I going to change things next time? How will I make Thomas Edison proud?" Right? Action above motivation. Take the action steps so that you do achieve those things. Mirror the characteristics that you desire. If you see some things or see some things in others, mirror those things. Predetermine your destiny. You're doing that by looking beyond the immediate. What are my life goals? What are those things? And you're taking steps to get there. Inspire others. Share your story. Share your journeys so that they can support you, but also so that they can find support in your journey too. You never know who you are encouraging or touching, and it helps to help you elevate. It's always better to be prepared for an opportunity than to have an opportunity come and you're not prepared. You're preparing yourself by staying on that plan. Okay. And every day is a new day. It didn't work? Try something new. It's a new day. It doesn't have to end. I told you my story didn't end there. I became a life coach because somebody reached out to me. My story didn't have to end. And I'm really excited about that. And I've done things that I couldn't imagine. I had to get uncomfortable. And I'm really happy that I did it. But I stay uncomfortable every week. Every week, it doesn't stop. But I have people there to encourage me and help me through it. Yes, I'm back at this. Sometimes you don't want to say, yay, hurrah. But some things are so delicious that you just go, That's a universal language. Did you know that? I could go to China, I'm pretty sure, and go, and they would know what I was saying. So, because you're so worth it, loving yourself, embracing yourself is just delicious. And so I want you to say to yourselves, yes, we're going to do this again. I'm so worth it. Together. I'm so worth it. And look at your neighbor and say, and you are too. And tell another neighbor, and you are too. And you are too. So I hope this was well worth your time in unleashing your champion. I put on the table some evaluations. Remember, we're going to encourage each other, so I need you to be truthful because that's the only way I can grow and learn. But I do need you to say it with love because I'm sensitive. And I have some things on there, so share that information with me. I do have a monthly newsletter that goes out. Be impressed, I finally figured it out. Technology. Randy, He's gone, but he would have been so proud of this moment. I'm working on a focus group. I'm actually at the end of it, but if anybody would like to share with me, I have a new book, and it shared that. It's called The Enemy Within, and it talks about how to take 15 minutes a day for yourself so that you can be refreshed. And as you're being the super server of giving to everybody else and everything else, when you're refreshed and have something to look forward to, you're able to give from a full cup your overflow instead of dust. So I'm looking for people who've done that so I can show others what success looks like. Or if you want to do that, you can talk to me about that too. Goal Watchers is just one of the coaching programs that I have that you tell me your goal and I call you 4 times a month for 10 minutes. I ask you for 15 different times. You never know when I'm coming. That means you're going to keep pushing towards your goal. But it's a part of that accountability and also to provide that support. Okay. I also do teleclasses. I've learned I had to tell people about these things. And I have a free one coming up, and so I will, wow, I'm stepping out on this one. Because I love Penny and Ed so much, I'm willing to do one next month for free for all of you all to be a part of a teleclass that I'm going to do in defining your purpose. It currently is at the end of July. So we said late summer. And my publisher is my accountability partner. Oh gosh. Do you have this part? Do you have this part? Did you do this part? I'm doing it. So, see, yes, she's on me. She email or calling like, hey. And then she tricks me. How are you? Good, nice, and then does that. So, and that's some of those things that I have. If you're interested in anything, I have some of those things over there. But most of all, my goal was just to make sure that you're moving towards your goals, moving towards your dreams, and so that you can unleash your champion, others see that, and it encourages them to do the same. That good for you all? Give yourselves a hand. And I'm done being an equal opportunity abuser at that point.